Hi guys, my name is Simon Todd. I'm the creative force behind Monty Dots Limited, and I'm here again to tell you a little bit more about our fabulous new role-playing game called The End of Kings. It's set in the 17th century, it's set in the British Isles, and it's alternative history. And the reason why it's alternative history is because it's got spells in it. So, everybody can cast a spell in the game. The people that focus on casting spells are the cunning folk, the warlocks, the priests, and to an extent you've got woodcairn, and you've also got witchfinders that can do it as well. But everybody else could possibly, during the course of the game, learn how to cast spells. I'm not restricting it. Alright, so let's start off with the fundamentals. How do spells get cast? We're using magic points. Everybody has magic points. When you roll for your skill attributes at the beginning of the game, so you've got strength, intelligence, dexterity, constitution, power and charisma. Power is the important one on this occasion. What you roll for your power is also the same number you're going to use for your magic points. Magic points are representational of energy that is created by disruption in the veil. The veil is the membrane that separates us from all the other places in the cosmos. I'm not going to go into huge details about that because that would take too long. Energy created through this disruption in the veil is manipulated by spellcasters which affect the world around them, and that includes priests. As well as being within all living things, this energy can be stored in vessels called etheric jars. If you look at the picture in front of you, pretty much everything here is a type of etheric jar, maybe ignoring the potion bottle on the left hand side. The mantic skull is used for divination but may hold its own magical energies. Certainly the dagger will in the pommel of its hilt. You do have this strange doll. You also have the elf stone, which is a natural stone with a hole in it. All these are capable of holding magical charge. The only one that's specifically designed to do that, well there's two or three there actually, is the vessel itself, which is shining green, and that can hold large amounts of magical energy. Also the cross, used by priests an awful lot, not only to fend off the evil around them, but also it holds extra magical energy that they can use to be able to cast their prayers. And the ring itself is definitely capable of carrying magical energy, and all these are referred to as etheric jars. When a living being reaches zero in their magical energies, they will faint. It doesn't kill them, but what it will do is it will make them faint, and then they'll need to rest to be able to get the magical points back. Then there's other ways, such as using spells to do that as well. So let's go on. This is a page from the book. There's an awful lot here, so let's go through it a little bit at a time. First, spell types, ritual and incantation. Incantations are quick spells that can be cast on the hoof. Rituals take an awful long time. They're usually cast in specific locations like within churches or laboratories, fairy circles, stone circles and sanctified buildings, and they're far more powerful. The spell groups are a way of dividing the different types of spells in other ways. So elemental spells, for instance, deal with the elemental stuff around you, so they manipulate the physicality of the world. Akashic spells deal with memory, experience, so they can be used for creating illusions, for creating charms, for even working with curses. Divination spells, divine spells are to be separated from divination spells. Sorry about that. So divine spells are basically accessing divine or infernal beings in order to be able to create spell-like effects. And priests and witches will often use these methods. Okay, so let's have a look on the right-hand side. Everybody carries magic points around with them. Apart from the etheric jars, which is a way of carrying more around with you, if you become an experienced spellcaster and you go up your spellcasting skill percentage score, then as you do so, your innate magic points increase, and the table on the right hand side does that. Now, let's go far off to the left. have a look beneath me that I'm talking, and you've got starting skill check in spells. Now, in order to be able to cast a spell, you're going to treat it like any other skill, and you're using skill checks. The restriction is that when you're starting off as a character, you are limited to your power score plus modifiers. So let's say you've got 15 power, you will also have 15 base magic points, and you'll also have a base of at the most 15 points of skill check. So your skill check for spellcasting will be 15. This will be the same for your divination skill check, and they are treated separately. Modifiers, let's have a look down there again. If you have a power of 15, your modifier for a spell skill check is going to be 2 points for every 12 point over 12. So if you've got 15 power, you've got an extra 6% to play with. That means your total skill check for spell casting will be 15 plus 6, which is 21%. Okay, it still seems like a really small amount, but certain of the etheric jars will also increase that by maybe 5, 10 or even 15%. So there are other factors that the character can do during the time that they're spell casting, like bringing in certain specific components or ingredients to help them in making the spell check more favourable. And so this is all about you as players negotiating with the game master to see if you can build up your chance of being successful in spell casting. And remember, at the end of each session you get to roll a percentage dice to find out if you've improved your basic skill check, so it doesn't stay like that. This is just the starter. Okay? The actual act of casting the spell is like any other skill. You roll percentage dice. If you've rolled equal to or beneath your current skill check, then you've succeeded in casting a spell. Right, let's move on. Restoring magic points. As I've already described, you restore magic points through rest. Each hour's rest is 3 magic points restored. A full 8 hours sleep will restore all magic points irrespective of how many have got lost. You can use a spell called Conduit. I won't go into details about that, but you can use a spell called Conduit to replenish your magic points. You can even draw in the magic points from the etheric jar that you're carrying. Okay, just hold it tight and you can draw it in and restore your innate magic points using the magic points that have come out of the etheric jar. The speed of casting a spell is dependent on the type of spell that you've got. So if you've got an incantation, then it can be relatively quick and can be used within a combat encounter. If you're casting a ritual, then it's really unlikely that you're going to be able to use that spell in a combat encounter. So this is the ruling. Intelligence plus power, halve the result, multiply by 5. This is your spell casting reaction speed, and you should have been able to put that on your character sheet when you've created your character. The only addition to that is the speed of the spell itself, because different spells have got different speeds. I'm going to go into this in another video, looking into combat and how we work out who goes first. But the higher number goes first, which means the faster spells have got a larger spell speed number attached to them. When we look at an example of a spell, I can explain that in further detail. So let's do that right now. I'm going to treat the spell Bless, and also Blessed Animal or Plant. This is straight from the book. As you can see, you've got the name in the top left hand side, and on the right hand side you've got the spell type. Both of these are Beneficorum spells. That means that they are generally positive because they're blessing. You can see on the right hand side, Bless Animal and Plant is classed as a ritual, though it only takes 5 minutes to cast. That's 5 rounds in a combat situation. So it's sort of possible to be able to cast Bless Animal or Plant during combat, though you're pretty much out of action for 5 rounds. Location, anywhere. Range for Bless Animal or Plant, you can be 30 feet away from the thing that you're casting the spell on. For the general Bless spell, it's 1 person. There is a further Bless spell called Bless Object, so if you're blessing a sword or a suit of armour or something else, but I'm not going to go into that. The duration of a Bless spell, in the case of Bless by itself, is 10 minutes. For Bless Animal Plant, the duration could be up to 3 months. The description: Bless. A Bless ritual confers on a character a robust protection against afflictions and evil enchantments. Cast at low level, it lessens the effects of ailments and minor hexes. At its most powerful, a Bless can be a major element in exorcising evil spirits, removing hauntings, and removing the symptoms of the plague. If you look, the reason why I'm showing you the Bless spell is because I've also listed what happens if you pour more magic points into the spell. And this is all up to the player. So at its base, it costs 6 magic points. That means if you're a very, very novice spellcaster and you've only got 15 magic points at your disposal, then 6 of them are used up straight away when you cast Bless. If you fail to cast a spell by failing the check, you do not use up any magic points. You only use up magic points when it's successfully being carried out. So don't worry about that. So, spell effects when you're using 6 magic points. Touch. You have to be touching the actual person that you're casting the spell on. It lasts 10 minutes and it confers in you the following. All skill checks for that character gain a 10% bonus for the duration. All magic resistance is got a 10% bonus, and you've also got a 10% poison or malady resistance. Okay, if you look at the very bottom one, which is 30 magic points, that means that you've pretty much used most of your innate magic, but you've probably got a very large etheric jar available, or you've been using a spell called Conduit. As I say, I'm not going to go into details of it. If you're using a spell called Conduit, then you can supercharge etheric jars, you can supercharge yourself, and then expel all that energy all at once. So in this case, you've got 30 magic points that you're expelling. The range is no longer touch, it's 30 feet. It lasts for 2 hours, and get this, plus 50% magic resistance, plus 50% against poison, and a 20% chance of rebounding magical attacks onto the caster. So Bless is an absolutely amazing spell if you're going to use up all that energy. Okay, hopefully this is giving you a flavour of how all the spells can be treated within the game. The bits that I haven't really gone into include manipulating how spells are cast. So if you want to use a few more spell points, you can make the duration go longer, or you can actually weaken the spell on purpose to make it do other things, or you can extend its range just by manipulating, and this is all in coordination with the Game Master. So for instance, if you want a basic Bless spell, but you want to do it at a range of 10 feet, then maybe you can say to the Game Master, if I expel an extra 2 to 4 magic points, can I do it at a 10-foot range? And the Game Master might say, there, go for it. Okay, so I want this to be really, really flexible. Okay, hopefully that's covered how spells are cast. This page is giving you a huge list. It's not the end of it, it finishes at R. I've got another section which is R to Z, and if you look at the known spells, you can see you've got the list of who can cast the spells. Let's take for instance Animal Command. That's when you're telling an animal what to do. It's Cunning Folk can use it, Pagan Priests can use it, and Woodcairn can use it. Okay, Animal Command at its base will use 4 magic points of energy. So this is how this list works. If you notice, Divination spells have got their own skill check. That's because they're so particularly different, and if you look in the book, there's a huge section on divination, because it can come in many forms, from using crystal balls to actually throwing some bones on a piece of ground to looking at the clouds. So divination's got its own section, similar to protection spells. They're given special treatment because they are against a range of different threats, from poisons, from magical attacks, from charms, from all sorts of different things. So I think that about wraps it up for spellcasting. I hope that's explained everything to you. Again, as usual, if you want to get in touch with me using the YouTube section beneath, or any other means, please do so, and we'll go a little bit further into these spells. Remember, this book is going to get kick-started soon. Hopefully I've created a spell system that's incredibly flexible and allows the players to have an awful lot of fun. That's what I'm aiming at, and believe me, through playtesting, it's been a very, very organic and natural event within the game, and all the spellcasters find it a great deal of fun to be able to waggle their fingers about and make things happen in the game. It doesn't overpower things, and if it does, then there should be the foe available to counter that. So don't worry about all that. So far it's been very fluid, it's been a wonderful addition to the game, and makes it definitely alternative history. Okay, so I've probably got 2 more videos to do, maybe a few more, but in the meantime I hope this one's proved very useful to you. So I'll see you again. Bye!